Millions of Americans who, perhaps unbeknownst to them, are sitting on valuable collector's items, boxes of letters and other memorabilia from relatives who served in World War II.
You know, more than 16 million Americans served in that war, and many of them left behind uniforms, insignia, medals, and other personal effects that collectors interested in what's being called militaria are looking to buy. For many families, these items are heirloom keepsakes, of course, but if you have some stuff that you're not personally attached to, you're a few mouse clicks away from making someone's day and at a profit. Military artifact historian Art Beltrone says there are now hundreds of thousands of people who are collectors to one degree or another, and he says the trend lately has been away from wide-ranging collections toward things with personal stories.
They don't want to know about every haversack that was made by the U.S. Army or every canteen. They want to know what Private Jones did at the Battle of the Bulge that saved his unit, and if it resulted in the destruction of 7 or 8 German pillboxes, that's part of the story in one particular part of time.
Peter Suciu paid $3,500 for this Russian experimental helmet because it was so unique. Helmets are what Suciu collects. He has 170 of them, and not one of them has a bullet mark on it.
There is a market of collectors that like battle-damaged helmets. That's never been my thing. I really like a clean, representative piece of that particular model from that particular time.
Suciu, too, has been collecting since childhood. His grandfather and great-uncle were veterans and sparked his interest. He knows the history of each of his helmets and can tell you plenty about the Boer War at the end of the 19th century in South Africa, where a British officer wore this. So this is the pride and joy of the collection for you?
This would be pretty much the white elephant that I have searched high and low for since I started collecting, and only picked it up this summer. So after 25 years, pretty much the most desirable piece I ever wanted I have. Came with the tin, which is how this would have been transported by the officer, and his name and unit right there on the front.
Perhaps the easiest militaria to come by are the patches worn on the uniforms that indicate specific divisions or units. Beltrone has a fairly exhaustive World War II collection, including some rare Rangers uniform patches. Wartime letters, personal and one-of-a-kind, also recount the day's historical events. Who knows how many shoeboxes there are of these in attics across the country?
You could put them on eBay, which a lot of them do find their way on eBay, and that's a pretty good indication of value. You can track pretty much how these letters are being acquired and what prices are being paid for them.
Now, as is often the case, you have to have a little bit of a buyer's beware sentiment when you go into even memorabilia.
Absolutely, because there are very few guarantees of authenticity, and there are reproductions made of almost all the stuff you can imagine, from uniforms to metal pieces to guns and all the other different things that people are interested in collecting. You can get some certificate of authenticity kinds of documents, and you should deal with reputable dealers. The same caveats apply to collecting this stuff as apply to collecting art or anything else.
Okay, and for more on picking up military memorabilia, please pick up Business Week magazine.